We can see your screen. Yeah. But we cannot hear you. Are you muted?
Oh, sorry.
Hey.
All right,
Okay.
so today I'll be presenting on our findings that efferent and afferent estimates of hand location do not optimally integrate. So as you know, the CNS can rely on at least two sources of information in order to localize the limb position in the absence of vision. So first, we have our proprioceptive afferents from receptors in our limbs, and we have an efference copy of the motor command used by the cerebellum to generate a prediction of sensory consequences. To produce a reliable single estimate about the location of the limb, these two sources of information could be optimally integrated using Bayesian integration or maximum likelihood estimation. And while some work has been done to investigate whether the CNS optimally combines sensory cues, less is known about the integration of non-sensory signals for limb estimates, given how hard it is to isolate them from the ever-present proprioceptive signals. So here we use our new paradigm to isolate efferent-based estimates of hand position from proprioception. And we had both younger and older adults, and over 200 of them, localize their hand after actively reaching in a self-chosen direction. And we call this the active localization condition, or after being passively moved by robotic manipulandum, and we call this the passive localization condition. So here, these plots simply show that both of our younger and older adults don't show any pattern of biases during baseline. And our main question really is whether estimates of a hand location based on both efferent and afferent signals are more precise than those based only on proprioception. So that's our active localization condition that has both afferent and efferent signals, and our passive localization condition that only has proprioceptive information. So according to the MLE rule or other straightforward Bayesian mechanisms, variance should be lower in the localization conditions where we have the two signals, and it should be higher in the condition that only has one signal. And as you can see here on the x-axis, we have our active localization variance, and our y-axis, the passive localization variance. We see that data more or less falls on the identity line, which suggests to us that having one or two signals is just as reliable. Next, we saw that older adults don't necessarily display greater proprioceptive variability than younger adults. Here you'll see the younger adults in the warm colored hues and the older adults in the cool colored hues in active and passive localization, and these are not significantly different from one another. Next, we asked if localization variability may be related to the variability of movement execution, and we actually found that here the x-axis is motor error variability and y is the localization variability, and we see that motor error variability fails to predict localization variability. And in our fourth and final question, we looked at whether weaker proprioceptive priors led to greater induced learning shifts in hand localization, as would be predicted by Bayesian or optimal inference. So here we took localization after participants experienced a perturbation, and we actually did not find that noisier, highly variable estimates were more susceptible to larger proprioceptive recalibration following this adaptation to a perturbation. And this suggests to us that it's likely not a Bayesian mechanism that's integrating these two signals. And so together, these findings make it less likely that the CNS combines efferent-based predicted sensory consequences and proprioceptive afferents optimally when estimating at least the final limb position. Thanks for attending my talk.
Thank you.